Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions in the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, sports, everything really depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. My guest is an actor. You'll recognize him from a lot of cool things. Specifically, he is going to be in Middleton Christmas, which is a Christmas movie coming out. We all love Christmas movies. And of course, you will recognize him as Jason Blossom in Riverdale on the CW. We are talking to Trevor Stines. Trevor, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You like how I started that intro? You like how I started that intro?
I did. Yeah, that was impressive. I'm here for it. You hit all the beats. Yeah, it sounds good.
Absolutely. So, I mean, right off the bat, kind of getting in terms of people that kind of follow you, you do kind of wear many hats. You do the acting, you know, you do the you do the modeling, like people like you don't just act, you do other things as well. When did you kind of like realize that like in the entertainment industry you had to do like wear many hats and do a lot of different things?
That's a good question. I don't know when I realized that, or I don't know if it was like a constant or a conscious realization right away. You know, like when I came out here to LA to start acting, because that's just kind of how that's what I grew up loving doing that. You know, I was in theater when I was in school, like plays and musicals and stuff in high school. Really enjoyed it. And, you know, I decided to just risk it all and move to Los Angeles to do it professionally. Yeah. And, you know, along the way, especially like after I started working as an actor, you know, doing some films, doing Riverdale, then I just kind of started to realize that I wasn't done yet, or that wasn't it. You know, there were more things I wanted to do, more things I wanted to say and try. So, you know, I started writing, I put out a book. And, you know, I even now, especially being in lockdown for, you know, major part of this year and a lot of production shutting down here in California, I really put my nose to the grindstone. I have a lot of projects, a lot of irons in the fire, as they say. So, you know, I think it's all part of like being a creative person. You have just a ton of outlets that you want to experiment with.
But I feel like you kind of have to, though. Like, I feel like, you know, a lot of people want to maybe kind of stay in one lane because that's what they're comfortable with doing. Like, they love acting and they want to act. But I feel like there comes a point where you just kind of have to get your feet wet and kind of experiment with different avenues of writing and directing. Like, I feel like it happens naturally.
Yeah, 100%. I think especially like nowadays in such a media inundated world, like there's so much like content out there for people to consume. You know, there's Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, and then you have like people on YouTube and apps like TikTok and Instagram all being creators and like providing entertainment to people.
Yeah.
So you have there is kind of a point where like if you want to be heard and you want to like use your voice, you're going to have to, as you said, like wear a lot of hats to do it.
Absolutely.
Or at least to do it effectively.
For sure. So Middleton Christmas.
Yes, sir.
Is a Christmas movie. And I feel like the appeal for Christmas movies has just been kind of through the roof. It's like, you know, like everyone's watching like Halloween movies, right? And then trailers kind of come out around November for like Christmas movies. And then it's just like, they become really popular, I find.
Yeah. That's part of the reason I wanted to do this film was we shot it late last year. And that like a month or two beforehand, I was like, I want to make a Christmas movie. Like people really enjoy those. I've never done one. And lo and behold, this came along and I was like, well, here's my opportunity. Part of the reason I wanted to do it was that like, you know, my family, my mother and my aunt, they love Christmas movies.
Yeah.
I have good friends of mine who like, that's one of their favorite things to do around the holidays is just like sit down and watch all of the holiday movies. So I wanted to, like throw my hat in that ring.
And yeah, very quickly, can you talk about what kind of we can expect with Middleton Christmas and a little bit about your character? I mean, people see the trailer for it, like small town Christmas movie, like Christmas in a small town. Talk a little bit about what can we expect with this film and your character.
Yeah. So the thing that really drew me to the film in general was it doesn't feel like your average Christmas movie, right? Like there are like tropes to holiday movies, Christmas tree, the spirit of Christmas, all that stuff. And people who like that kind of thing in their holiday movies are going to find, what they're looking for. But I don't know. I think that there's a really touching story about like connectedness between people in this film. And I think we really did something kind of unique and put a new spin on this type of story and like what you'd expect from this type of story. My own character, I play Lucas in the film. I am, I'm somebody's boyfriend. I'm like the homecoming king kind of guy at the
jock.
School. Yeah, the jock, football player. I'm a basketball player in the film type of guy. But once again, I'm not exactly what springs to mind when you think of that kind of character. And Lucas has a really unique perspective and a really unique thing to offer in this film, and I'm excited for people to see it.
Absolutely. So you mentioned it a little bit. We talked about it before. I mean, people will recognize you as Jason Blossom in a little show.
They might not recognize my voice, but they'll recognize.
They'll recognize you as Jason Blossom in Riverdale. Yeah, we were talking about that before. I think he'll go down as one of the most kind of popular characters that like never had a line in like a TV show.
Yeah. I was saying before we started airing, but that I might be like up at the top of the list for TV characters who like with the most screen time with the least amount of lines.
Absolutely. And you want to hear something really cool, which is pretty exciting for our show. So we are interviewing you, who played Jason Blossom. And we have also interviewed Tiara Scobie, who played Polly Cooper.
Oh, nice.
So isn't that cool? So we got the couple.
That's really awesome. Yeah. The mother of my children.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
I mean, did you kind of have an idea, though, that Riverdale was going to be kind of a big deal when you signed off for it? I mean, like, they might not tell you what happened. They probably in the script, your character dies, you come in for these kind of flashbacks and everything. But, like, that just was massive. And people just, like, fell in love with you.
No, it's crazy, man. Like, like when we were making the show, I remember we were making the pilot and my manager told me that, it's based off of Archie Comics.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's
Jason Blossom is in Archie too. People don't realize.
Yeah. And so I was like, so that, there are probably some longtime Archie fans that'll want to watch the show. Then, it'll probably have an audience.
Yeah.
Of some kind. But then, the show hit, and I don't think anybody expected it to kind of balloon to the size that it has. And, people were so kind, like the fans of the show were just so kind, but like their reception to it was so warm.
It was global.
When it was airing
it was also a global reception too, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that blows my mind, like I'm from a really small town in Washington State that nobody's ever heard of. I moved to Los Angeles, and now I've had the opportunity to travel the world and like meet fans who have seen my work and like have appreciated it, and it's been just the most amazing experience that I've ever had.
It is so cool. I just like that first season of Riverdale just like always sticks with me because I just like I love like the whole introduction of the maple syrup cartel, man. Like that was kind of what's like sucked me into watching the show. I love that storyline, man. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. I like that first season really was something special for me. For me especially, like being that was when I was the most involved, and I've remained a part of the show for the its entire run. I've made an appearance in every season.
Yeah.
But like the story of what happened to Jason Blossom that the first season covered. I mean, I get messages like that a lot, like that people, it's really like stuck with people, and people really, really, I don't know, appreciated it.
Well, one can make it one can make an argument that Jason Blossom is like one of the most important characters of the TV show Riverdale. Like, we're not talking Archie comics; we're talking about like the adaptation of like the show, right? I mean, that first season is literally about you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would never take away like any of the work that my co-stars on the show have done. You know, but like, yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair thing to say. You know,
the storylines, right? And I do see,
right. I was gonna say, like,
I did see on social media that, you know, although you like Jason has kind of moments where he kind of shows up throughout the show, but like some seasons he's more prominent than other seasons. But I did see that you know, you're still doing like conventions and fan things involved with Riverdale till this day. That's pretty exciting for you that you're able to continue to do that. Yeah.
It's been one of my favorite things to come out of like working on the show, mainly because it just lets me meet in person like the people who make the show what it is. You know, like the fans of the show that keep it elevated and have made it as successful as it's been. I get to meet them and like
absolutely
talk with them, and that's just like, it's so humbling and just beautiful for me to do it. It's so much fun, and that's why I love doing them, and like traveling to different places in the country and different places in the world, and just getting to meet all kinds of different people who all share this love for this show.
It is crazy. And you know, what I find interesting is, you know, you've worked on a lot of other things as well, not just Riverdale, but obviously that's something that is a big part. It's a big part of your life right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's huge, right? And it's one of those things where, so you mentioned that, you know, you show up. Were you like called back to kind of come in and shoot things, or is what we see everything you kind of shot your first run with Riverdale?
No, yeah, I would kind of continuously go back and shoot when I was needed. Yeah. The funny thing being is that like I don't know if you can tell, but I'm blonde haired naturally.
Yeah.
And they dye my hair red for the part. And so like, even if I was only shooting one episode, they would dye my hair red, and then I would have red hair for like 8 months afterwards. So I've pretty much been living on and off as a redhead for the last 4 or 5 years.
And one thing that happens too is people that follow you on Instagram will see that you have 1 million followers on Instagram. And a lot of that is Riverdale fans.
Oh yeah, I would imagine most of it is.
Yeah. So my question to you is, do you see yourself as kind of having that responsibility a little bit, like as an actor with like, you have a big like following, you know, on social media. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought about kind of like the responsibility, because there's just a lot of eyes on the prize, so to speak. Like a lot of people are seeing you. Have you ever thought about that, like actors and social media and like being careful like what you tweet and stuff? Because I feel like that's just like, you have that audience anytime you want type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To be honest, I think about it all the time. Yeah. I'm not like a huge user of social media. You know, like people won't go on and find me posting things 24 hours a day, every day. But yeah, I think about like I think there is like an inherent responsibility that comes with any kind of platform. I don't think it's like really anyone's call how you're supposed to use that platform, if you want to use, or even if you want to use that platform. But I do think, like you have a really, like you said, an audience. A lot of them are like younger too, like the Riverdale kind of viewer base is, it skews younger. And I do think it's important to like, it at the very least, like use it to spread a positive message. You know, I don't think there's any need to be like fake on social media and be performative in the way that you present yourself. But you know, if there's one thing that if I could use that platform to like help people be kind to each other, then that's what I want to do.
Does it amaze you how quick it kind of like erupts though sometimes? Like even like when the days where like, you know, you're starting to get the following, like the days when Riverdale launched and like you were getting that following, right? Or like the days where you post something and you have instantly all these comments. Like, doesn't it blow your mind how quick it is?
Yeah. It's like, honestly, it's so weird. Like like when I post something and I have to turn notifications off on my phone for posting, because like, you know, if I post something and then I just have 100,000 notifications destroying my phone, then I won't be able to use it. Yeah. And I think that's one of the harder things, is that like when you want to connect to your fan base, sometimes it's so it can be so rapid that you miss things, and you can't like you can't get to every person every time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it is a crazy experience. You know, I that's one thing, is that like if you have a following online, you have to learn to put it away and like live your life as a person and not let it consume everything you do.
No, absolutely. Well, Trevor, thank you so much for coming on Popternative the chat. I really enjoyed this, man.
Yeah, me too. No, it was fun. It was a good time.
So Middleton Christmas. Talk a little bit about you know what where we could see this film. Like what like when can we see it? It's going to be available soon.
Yeah, I actually think it's dropping tomorrow. Tomorrow, from the day we're recording this, it's the 2nd, so it's coming out on the 3rd tomorrow, I believe.
Calm before the storm, eh?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So you guys can check it out. Middleton Christmas. It is, like I said, a really lovely film. I'm going to be watching it with my family, so hope you guys watch it with yours, and it's going to be a good time.
And where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
Yeah, you guys can find me at Trevor_Stines. It's Stines. Trevor_Stines on Instagram and Twitter.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, man, for doing this. And I really, really appreciate you coming on the chat. And we're all excited for that Christmas movie, Middleton Christmas, which is going to be great. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. You can check out Trevor Stines and Middleton Christmas, which will be dropping. Until next time, this is Trevor Stines and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.